Bring that ass back like a boom, 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 boom.
Hey guys, welcome to another video. On today's episode we're going to head out to Mallala Motorsport Park for a practice day. This video is going to be a little bit different. What we're going to do is play with some alignment settings. So what I'm going to do is I've got the S13 on the alignment machine at the moment. Just mind how messy it is. All the panels and that fell off last time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set it to like my usual alignment setting. Which basically is not very much toe in the rear and sort of 0 camber, and then the front sort of about 7 degrees of Castor, about 5 to 6 degrees of camber, and anywhere from 15 to 20 mil toe out. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to, while it's on the machine, is I'm going to measure how much sort of one whole turn of the toe arm, how much that measures in millimeters, and I'm going to record that. And then at the track I'm going to do the first session how I normally would, and then the second session I'm going to adjust from there, and we're going to run some pretty crazy settings just to see how it feels. Most of the time I'm sort of doing an event or whatever, I don't really want to be dialing in sort of 20 mil toe in the rear and then it feel like absolute garbage. So being a practice night, I don't really care, so we're going to play around with it, and yeah, we're going to see how it feels with some different alignment settings. Alright, so these are somewhat the settings I'm going to have to start with. So basically 0 camber and the tiniest bit of toe in, and then I'm going to increase toe in throughout the night to maybe 5 mil a side, and then go something like 10 mil a side. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to turn the arm and see how much the adjustment actually changes on there. So at the moment we're at 0.5. These arms are really bent as well, so probably not the best to be doing it with, but we'll see how it goes. So basically, we pick a point, so there, and then we'll go, say, half a turn. So from there to there, maybe a little bit more, that's about half a turn there. And then what we've done is we've gone 3 mil. So we know half a turn is 3 mil, which would make a whole turn 6 mil. So basically, if I set that back half a turn again, so let's get that, if I can get the span on, from there around to here, so that's about half a turn there, and then we're back at 0.5 again. So when we're at the track, I'll do one session. I'll toe each side in 3 mil probably in the first session, and then I'll go to 6 mil a side, which would make it 12 in the other session, and then maybe go something like 20 mil total at the end. But now we know exactly how much we have to change this at the track for the adjustment we need. Alright, so we're going to do the same thing again with the front. So this is basically the setup I'm going to run for the start of the night. So 7 degrees Castor, both sides. This side's 5 and that's 6. I'd normally get it a bit closer, but for the practice night I'm just going to leave it like that. I'd probably match them up to about 5.5, but for now we're going to leave that. And then toe, we're going 15 mil total, toe out. So 7.5 a side. And we're going to do the same thing here. So we're going to pick a spot. It's a bit oily under here. I just noticed actually that the steering rack has a bit of an issue when you move it, so it's not meant to do that. So after this practice, I'm probably going to replace that steering rack with another one. So yeah, anyway, back to this. So you pick a spot, line that up, and then you want to go to toe it out. You've obviously got to bring the wheel in at the back, so you got to undo that a bit, and you want to do this up in here, which will bring the wheel in. So righty tighty, lefty loosey, and this one down half a turn, about there. So that went from 7.5 to 10, or 10.5. So again, pretty much the same as the rear, half a turn. We'll go half a turn back again. Oh, it's a bit hard to turn. That was a bit up there somewhere. And then yeah, back to 7.5 again. So pretty much exactly the same as the rear. Half a turn is 3 mil. So at least they're both the same. So it's going to be pretty easy to remember. So same thing again. I'll play around with the front, play around with the rear in between sessions, and then see how it feels and see what it does to the car. So yeah. I thought I'd quickly explain why I've actually chosen the alignment settings I'd normally run with. So basically, I've tried lots of different alignment settings over the years, and I've never gone obviously as crazy as what I'm planning to go tonight on changing the toe that drastically. But the reason I've sort of gone with what I've gone with is around the 0 camber sort of mark. Obviously, you've got the tyre nice and flat on the ground. With 0 sort of toe, I've set the traction arms up on this car to basically squat down and keep the toe at 0. When you squat with obviously the standard knuckles, the camber is obviously going to camber in. If you want a little bit more side bite, you probably go a little bit more negative camber, but it's going to wear the inside of the tyre a little bit more. So I like getting the most out of my tyres and getting the most of the tyre wear. This car itself is not all that powerful, so don't actually need all the grip in the world, otherwise I start breaking gearboxes and diffs and stuff like that, because the little 20's a little bit laggy, so we're always clutching it, trying to get it on power. So the front, 7 degrees of Castor is quite nice. I've run more, I've run less. Any more and you start coming into bind issues. Camber around the 5 sort of degree mark, maybe a little bit less would probably be better for a little bit more grip sort of in a straight line, but that's sort of what the control arms are extended to for the clearance, so that's fine. And then toe out, when you've got modded knuckles, you want a bit of toe out. A lot of people run anywhere from 5 a side. This is 7.5 a side, so 15 total. So it's a little bit more on the aggressive sort of side. I've run sort of up to 20 mil, and that's a bit more aggressive, makes it a bit more flicky and whatnot. So yeah, anyway, we're going to try a hell of a lot more than that tonight, and we're going to try a hell of a lot more toe in on the rear, which I'm expecting it to be a lot more grippy, and in the front it's going to be a lot more snappy as well. So yeah, follow along and you'll see how it goes. Alright, we're down here at the track, about to head out. I forgot to mention the tyre of choice for tonight is 235/40/18 Salem, and I've got all 4 pairs on similar size rims and all at 30 psi, so we'll see a bit of a difference in the grip in the alignment and go from there. But yeah, I'll try and chuck a couple of laps from each session in the videos here so you can see any differences or whatnot, and yeah, I'll let you guys know how it feels. So that's the first session done with basically zero toe, and that's the tyre wear on the right hand side, and the left hand side. Basically perfect, so that's why I normally align it like that. I don't think I'm going to have time to change front and rear at the same time, so I'm just going to crank a heap of toe into the rear, probably 1.5 turns, which I think was about 9 mil. So with the little bit it had to start with, it might give it roughly 10 mil aside, and then we'll see how that feels. So that's the first session down with the normal alignment. Car feels just like it normally does. 30 psi in the Salons in this car is pretty bloody grippy, and with this clutch the way it is, it's definitely slipping. So now I've changed up the rear alignment. It's towing in 10 mil aside, so 20 mil total, and it's gonna, from what I think from recent research, it's gonna be really fucking grippy. So yeah, let's see how we go. Let's hope the clutch holds up, and yeah, I'll chuck a few clips in. Alright, first session with 20 mil toe in on the rear. See how she goes. out the other side. Should be alright. Good to go. Alright, second session down. Had a little bit of a bingle, so I've lost rear bar and tail lights, and he's lost his front bar now. But yeah, overall the tow out on the rear was pretty crazy. Didn't give me as much grip as I was expecting, but it definitely gave me a bit more grip, and it was definitely a lot more flicky into the corners, which was sick. Tyre wear was pretty much exactly the same. So maybe the tiniest bit left on there. But if anything, it looks like they're a little bit overinflated, but they were the same pressure as these ones. This one's pretty dead straight all the way through. So we've got another pair on now. I'm going to leave the rear as is, and we're going to tow the front out a little bit. I've got to swap my front side to side because this one's wearing pretty badly. I think I've parked on the bottom, but down on the bottom here somewhere. There's a wire hanging out. What's up? Alright, so this is the third session. Hopefully you can hear me. I've stuck a few pair of tyres on the back, same pressure, 30 psi. Still got 20 mil tow in on the rear, but I've towed it out more on the front. I've done a turn each side, which is 6 mil a side, so about 12 mil. So we're about 27-ish to 30 mil tow out on the front. Alright, so on to another day. Drift track was pretty cool. Good to play around with a few different alignments and whatnot. The Silvia came off a little bit worse for wear after our little bingle, but when do I ever take the Silvia around and it not look like a crushed tin can afterwards, so it doesn't really bother me. Anyway, the plan for today is to chuck it on the wheel alignment machine and just check that all the adjustments I did were pretty much close to what I thought they were, and so that way I can tell you guys obviously what I've done at the track is what it is, so if that makes kind of sense. Whereas you can adjust at the track and go, oh yeah, this is about 20 mil, but you're not too sure until you actually measure it on the alignment machine. So let's see how good my guessing was at the track and how close I was, and yeah, let's chuck it on. Alright, so just chucking it on the alignment machine to see basically if the adjustments I did at the track were what I thought they were, and they were very close. So basically rear toe here, so that's toe in because it's positive, so 11.5 on the left hand side and 12.5 on the right hand side. For doing that at the track, 1 mil difference is pretty good. Camber's cambered in a little bit, but that doesn't matter too much. So yeah, basically total toe in the rear was nearly 24 mil toe in, whereas I started the night at almost 0. And then the front, basically each side was say 13 to 14 mil out, and a total of nearly 27 mil toe out, which is about what I was going for as well. So it's good to know that you can make those adjustments at the track and it actually makes the right difference of what it would if it was on the actual alignment machine. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Obviously camber and stuff like that's pretty hard to do at the track to get exact, but I left all that as it was because I'm happy with that. So yeah, overall I was pretty happy with the end alignment, but the front being almost 30 mil toe out was probably a little bit too much. So what I'll probably do for next time is, I was really happy with the rear how it was, so I'll probably leave that somewhat what it is, maybe even it up to about 20 mil toe in, and then the front I'll probably bring it back down to about 20 mil toe out. So 20 in on the rear and 20 out on the front, and then we'll get a bit more practice in like that, see if we can get it a bit more sort of flicky and a bit faster transitions and see how that goes. But yeah, overall, apart from breaking the clutch, was a killer day. So yeah, overall, yeah, killer day. Hope you guys enjoyed watching and got a bit of knowledge out of it from the different alignments I did over the night, throughout the different sessions. Hopefully you guys learnt a bit. Maybe in your car you might want to try the same sort of things. I know I was pretty scared to sort of just smash a whole heap of toe in on the rear. A lot of the recent events I've done have been sort of competitions, and I didn't really want to set it up how I'm not used to. So obviously practice night, perfect time to play with some settings and see what you like. So yeah, hopefully you guys can get a bit of feedback from what I've done and use it on your own car. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you like the video, chuck a like, and yeah, catch you next time.